होंगे लोग तो।
मैम नहीं, उसको ये करके आप ये कर दो। अच्छा हाँ, फुल स्क्रीन पे नहीं होगा ना। हाँ,
Because I will be allowing no people inside.
ओके 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 मैम। मैम you'll mail it to me, so I'll share it till then.
Yeah, I'll mail it to you. That's
हाँ
better.
हाँ मैम, मेल आईडी है, मैं व्हाट्सएप कर दूँ?
नहीं, मैं तुमको मेल आईडी बोलो मुझे।
ASHLEY
हाँ
.f
हाँ
@nkc.ac.in।
because I should know na to
एंट्री,
allow
हाँ।
people
यस
inside. हाँ,
यस यस।
ये बस ऐसे न्यू पावर पॉइंट ऐसा है।
हाँ मैम, नो प्रॉब्लम नो प्रॉब्लम।
अभी मेल किया, देखो चेक करो।
ठीक है।
हाँ हेलो।
मैम विजिबल?
या विजिबल। इसको स्लाइड शो कर दो।
हाँ मैम। ठीक है मैम।
या नहीं, स्लाइड शो पे नहीं है ये। हाँ,
कर दिया सर।
तुमको ना एंटायर स्क्रीन शेयर करना पड़ेगा, वो नहीं तो आता नहीं है बराबर।
ओके मैम।
हाँ
मैम नाउ?
अभी भी नहीं आ रहा है।
मैम एंटायर स्क्रीन किया है।
एक्चुअली पूरा आना चाहिए। वो छोटा ही करो, वो जो जैसा था ना वैसे ही रखो, वो स्लाइड पूरा बाहर आ गया है।
नाउ इज इट प्रॉपर मैम?
नो, हाँ, नाउ इट्स ओके, नाउ इट्स ओके। स्मृति, आर यू देयर? उनका एग्जाम है 11:15 तक।
Good morning, Kavita ma'am.
गुड मॉर्निंग पूनम। जैनी, आर यू देयर?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Kavita ma'am, Ashley sir,
Good
and Rina.
morning.
Good morning, Kavita. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Rina.
Still, there is a time, no? 11:30.
Yeah. 11:30 we are starting.
Yeah. पीछे के सारे ग्रुप्स में मैसेज भेज दो.
अब भेजा हुआ है, सब जगह भेजा है.
हाँ. ओके.
हाँ.
Kavita ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, by 25, I'll share the link on the formal group.
हाँ.
By 25, I'll share the link on the formal group.
Link is there in this, no?
Ma'am, the one on YouTube, the YouTube one.
Yeah, in the flyer.
YouTube ka I will share it on the group, I said.
Ha. That you can do. Yes.
Yeah.
Just put in the chat box whenever we are going live, no, on YouTube. Just put it on the chat box so everyone knows.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Janie has come.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You ready?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
We're just waiting for Smriti. She had an exam. So, abhi aa rahi hai.
Okay.
To 11:15 she had the exam. Are we able to hear the music?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, no. So I'm playing it. Smriti, you're in.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good, good, good. Varsha ma'am, welcome. Good morning. As soon as Moushumi madam joins, no, Smriti, you can take over, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Done. Jemima, you're in, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So be ready. Smriti will call. Smriti is also there. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good morning, Moushumi ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone.
Good morning,
Good
madam.
morning.
Good morning, Moushumi
Good
madam.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Moushumi ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Ma'am, we'll start sharp at 11:30. Smriti, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. 11:30 we'll start, huh? Moushumi ma'am? Smriti, you can start.
Okay, ma'am. Firstly, good afternoon, Moushumi ma'am, and all the teachers present over here. Good morning to one and all present over here. This is Smriti Sachin Puntambekar from MSc Geoinformatics Semester 3, and I welcome you all for this webinar that is on how to write a research paper. This is a special webinar organized for postgraduate and master's student and to enlighten everything about research. Before starting, I request Jemima to play the college anthem.
Ashley, you stop presenting, so she'll be able to present.
Yes, ma'am.
मुझे स्वर जो भी शिक्षित हो यहाँ वह नेक एक इंसान हो। जो भी शिक्षित हो यहाँ वह नेक एक इंसान हो। भेदभाव न उपजे मन में सबको मैं अपना सकूं। भेदभाव न उपजे मन में सबको मैं अपना सकूं। मैं बनूं इंसान अच्छा जग में कीर्ति कमा सकूं। मैं बनूं इंसान अच्छा जग में कीर्ति कमा सकूं। भारत भविष्य बना सकूं। भारत भविष्य बना सकूं।
Today's webinar was hosted for encouraging all the students in the research process and to develop their interest towards research on all beyond pandemic related topics. Our speaker for today is Professor Dr. Moushumi Datta, who is also our current principal. Talking about Moushumi ma'am, she has been in the teaching experience for the past 27 years and has technical skills related to educational technology, remote sensing, GIS, and GPS. Ma'am has published 88 papers that IIS SSN 45 and ISBN 43. She has also co-edited 8 books and authored 1 reference book and 8 textbooks. Ma'am has done 2 PhDs in geography and management both. She has been the resource person in 63 conferences, webinars, and FDPs in the last 5 years. She has presented a paper in Pennsylvania University, USA in 2010, as well as Princeton University of USA in 2011. She has also been a part of the panel selected by NK College to visit King's College, New York Elizabeth College Town in Philadelphia, George Washington in 2011. She has organized more than 30 conferences, workshops, training programs at national, international, and state level. She has been the coordinator of IQAC since 2009 and the coordinator of NAC accreditation of the 3rd cycle and the ongoing 4th cycle. Ma'am has a life membership of 7 national professional bodies and an annual member of 1 international body. Ma'am has received the Real Superwoman Award for Forever Star India in 2020. Now I request Moushumi ma'am to take over and guide us about the entire how to write about the research process.
Thank you, Smriti, for that elaborate introduction of mine. Actually, we are all known to each other. Anyway, good morning to everyone. Respected Madam Director, Dr. Mrs. Sansi Jose, Vice Principal of Degree College, Professor Vijay Suchak, and of Self-Finance Section, Dr. Mona Mehta, Coordinator of Research Cell, CA, Dr. Varsha Ainapure Madam, Co-Coordinator of the Research Cell, Dr. Kavita Kalkoti, my other I can see many faculty members, my colleagues are there. Thank you, my colleagues, for joining this. Actually, it was for the students, but I'm really happy and delighted that I can see many of my colleagues here. And my dear students from PG, there are some students from TY also, and of all the master classes. Today, I've been asked to speak on a very, very pertinent topic of research. Now, in education sector, why in education sector only? In every field where you go, now research has become a part and parcel. So research is very, very important. But many of us, in fact, me also, never knew for a long time. I really wanted to do research, but I never knew from where to start a research. So I think my students, friends are also facing the same problem. You know, we hear now research has an inward, actually I always call it an inward, but we really don't know from where to start and definitely where to end. So I'm sure my lecture today on how to write a research paper will show you a very clear path on really how to go about research. Before I start into the core concept of research, let me tell you this. I have prepared my presentation and my talk at the base level. We want to understand none of us, you, me, none of us actually know research. We are now trying to dive in the sea of research. So how it should be. So my presentation will be very, very simple. It will be very, very clear. And I am sure every time I speak on research, my concepts also get clear. So I'm sure by the end of the lecture, I will also gain knowledge, and definitely you too. So I take a second break, Kavita madam, and I like to share my screen and start my lecture. Again, I thank the research cell. I thank the research cell for having the faith in me that I will be able to show a right path for my students. Thank you, research cell. My slide is visible? My presentation is visible? Yes, fantastic.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah. So we start with how to write a research paper. Now my presentation flow will be, now you cannot do a research unless and until you know the rules of thumb for research. So my presentation flow will be rules of thumb for research, what we should keep in our mind when we really want to start a research. Second most important thing is finding a topic. What do you think, my friends? Finding a topic is so very important, yes or no? And it is difficult as well. Me at this stage also, I keep on changing my topic. One fine morning, I get up and realize that, yes, the topic which I had decided last night was not proper at all. So choosing the topic and narrowing down the topic is very, very important. And definitely, we will be discussing on the format of a research paper. A research is actually a very, very systematic organization of whatever knowledge you have acquired. So the format of the research paper is very, very important. It is not a love letter that you write as you wish. You have to follow the process. So research is, you have to excuse me for my bad throat. Yeah. Research is something, when you want to seek truth and knowledge of something, truth and knowledge which enhances development. If you see the word research, every letter of the word research is very, very important. I always try to take the important word because the center letter you will see. For example, in research, R is always an opportunity. I always tell my students, me and you maybe will be a selected lot who is getting an opportunity to do a research. There are crores of people who are there who do not get an opportunity for, maybe potential is there, hidden potentials are there. Their potentials are not extracted. They get the opportunity to do the research, but we have got. So the R stands for opportunity, idea. Research is something which is something of your own. Maybe in a research, I'll come to it later on, you try to solve out a problem. But when you really solve a problem and with your idea, you try to give recommendation. So it is nothing but innovativeness. It is an idea. For some, when your research is picked up as a patent or the recommendations of your research are used in policy making, or they're used for some developments, it is definitely a source of earnings, but it's very few. Research, the E of research is development, definitely. As I said, it is innovation. It is not confined to any syllabus. You know, in masters, in PG, whatever you do, we are confined to a syllabus. But research is something where you can really fly with your wings apart. You know, you have a place of innovation. It definitely gives you experience. More and more you do research, it gives you experience. Maybe 10 years back, I could not imagine that I will be addressing to crowds which are 500 odd people or 1,000 odd people. I have not imagined that, but experience has brought where I am today. It is definitely curiosity. You are finding out new truth. You are adding to new knowledge. You are finding out new solutions. So that is curiosity. Overall, when you do research, definitely it leads to your academic growth, which is very, very important. So research word, although a small word, but hidden, it has got huge, the exposure of research is huge because it gives you opportunity, idea, earnings, development, innovation, experience, curiosity, and growth. I was talking about rules of thumb for research. You have to remember this 5 rules of thumb for research. Very, very important. Unless and until you remember this, a research should not be one only you understand. A research should be something where all understand. Your research should be something which should bring development in the field where you have done a research. Nowadays, we talk of multidisciplinary research. So, certain rules of thumb you have to remember when you're doing a research. First, I believe it should be clear, plain language. None of us are working with Shakespeare. So why to use flowery language? You have to avoid the use of flowery language at all costs. Multisyllabic terms, avoid it. Write in simple style, in simple words, in simple English. Please avoid flowery language at all costs. You know, every subject students has a jargon. The students know about the jargons, my dear students who are present in the platform. Some of you, if you can talk. So it will be an active discussion instead of a passive presentation. Any one of you? Yes? We have MCOM students here. We have geoinformatics students here. Yes or no?
Ma'am, can I try?
Yes, why not?
Ma'am, using really difficult language, when it becomes very confusing for others to understand those
You
words.
belong to, I cannot see because my presentation is on. You belong to which stream of?
Ma'am, MSc. Ma'am, Smruti, MSc Geoinformatics.
Yeah, MSc Geoinformatics. That's right. You're using a technical language. You know, geoinformatics has got so many technical language. Maybe you have done a research, but if you start using the languages of the softwares which we use, maybe you will understand. A person who has done geoinformatics will understand, but a person who has not done will not understand at all. There are students from management. MCOM students are here. Yes or no? MCOM students are present here. Yes. Yes.
Yes, we are allowed. We take out from the numbers here actually.
Fine. So, you know, in management, we have many jargons which are used. For example, the new jargon which has come in now, rank and yank. Well, now in your research, you write down rank and yank. Now, management people will understand what is rank and yank. Rank and yank means what? when an employer ranks the employees and below certain rank, they're thrown out of the company. So rank it, and then according to the rank, you yank it, you remove them. So rank and yank, you understand, MCOM students understand. Maybe a person doing PhD in management will understand, but others will not understand. So always avoid using jargons in your research. Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese rule, Japanese term. It means continuous development, continuous improvement. Maybe you and I will follow, others will not follow. So there are many, many jargons. In fact, every subject has got some jargons. But I will request, whenever you're doing a research, please write simple language and avoid using jargons. I cannot say, sometimes it becomes impossible, you have to use it. But generally, you avoid using jargons. Second, very, very important thing which we have to remember whenever we are trying to write a research paper is that use direct, clear sentences. Always use active voice, not the passive voices. In technical writing, generally we avoid passive voices. Take, for example, we have an example here. Beautiful giraffes roam the savannah. And you write, savannah is roamed by beautiful giraffes. Why make it so complicated? In a research paper, you have to use active voice and very, very straight, simple and straight. This is very important to vary the sentence structure. You know, whenever, even today, I do a research and I write a research paper, I don't know why. I have a feeling mine is the best. I'm sure. All my students also must be feeling so. Whenever I read my research paper, I read with my full concentration. But my dear students, it is not always happens for others. You have to hold the interest of the others. For me, my research paper is very close to my heart, but for others, it may not be so. So always vary the sentence structure. Always vary the length of the sentence. Sometimes you use short sentences. Sometimes you use medium sentences and very few long sentences. It is a general thought that whenever the length of the sentences vary, it helps to hold the interest of the third party. Always remember, vary the sentence structure, vary the length of the sentence. Use consistent tenses. Present tense is common for academic papers. Today we are talking on academic papers. Future tense is generally not used, but for recommendations, we write in future tense because you are giving a recommendation which is yet to be implemented. But generally, you try to keep it in present tense. So don't keep on changing the tenses at all, so that the flow of your paper is very proper. And the last one, although we feel our paper is the best, but it is not always so. Have someone else read the paper. Ask your friends to read the paper before submitting it, whether you're submitting it in a conference or you're submitting it for a research proposal, whatever it might be. Please, because an outsider, when reads your paper, he or she will be able to provide you a proper feedback. So please allow someone else read the paper. I am sure if you follow these 5 rules, your paper will come out to be an extraordinary one. Let us go back. What we have to remember when you're writing a research paper. Number 1, clear, plain style. No use of flowery language. Avoid the use of jargons. Active voice always. Vary the length of the sentences. Short, medium, long. Use proper tenses. Use consistent tenses. Mostly present tense. Although future tense is never used, but when you are writing recommendation, it has to be in future tense. Last, And the most important one, always allow somebody else read the paper, because more somebody else reads it, more feedback you will get, and get a constructive feedback. I feel when I do a research, it is okay if my friend does not like it. It is absolutely fine. But the feedback which I will get, it will be a very constructive one. My research is very, very close to my heart, but it may not be for others. It is absolutely fine for that. But if somebody else reads the paper, you will get a very good feedback, which is very, very important. I think I'm very clear on the 5 thumb rules of research. Yes, Madam Kavita? Anyone has to ask me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're very clear.
Yes.
If anyone wants to ask, we can ask, or ma'am will continue.
Yes. So once you have decided that you will be doing a research, main hindrance comes in your way of choosing your topic. That even today, I'm sure all my colleagues are also present here who are very good researchers. They will also feel the same. You keep on thinking, what should be the topic? Sometimes we give our papers for a conference, we have a theme, we have a sub-theme, but still we are confused that which topic to choose. I give you a simple formula of choosing your topic. The simple formula is known as 5 W's and H. If you apply this formula, you're choosing the topic, narrowing down the topic will be very, very easy. Let us find out what is that 5 W's and H. Whenever you're choosing a topic, I said 5 W and H. What are those 5 W's? Who, excuse me, who, what, when, where, and why. You can see 5 W's, everyone? I'm sure you can. And 1 H. Now take, for example, yesterday when I was making a presentation, I was thinking, what can be the topic? What can be the topic? I choose a very broad topic of women in World War II. In United States, a woman played a very important role in World War II. Although they were not allowed to take part in the war front, but many of them became nurses, and they used to provide nursing services. So women had a very, very important role to play in World War II. So I started wondering, let's my topic be World War II. Now, first is who. Who in World War II? I just can't write something on World War II. Who? Woman in woman in World War II. What? What to study about World War II? What to study about women in World War II? I kept on wondering, and I realized I know nothing about it. So, what to study about women in World War II? I need to do research. Now, if everything you know before the research, there is no point doing the research, isn't it? There should be something vacant in research. Then only there is a scope of doing a research. You cannot know everything before the research. So what to study, I really never knew. When? We all know duration of the war, 1939 to 1940, 1939 to 1945. Where? I wanted to study because the woman really participated in the World War in United States of America. So it's where is United States of America. I'll do why first and then come to how. Why? Why do you want to study? Because I felt that the role of American women in World War II has changed the perception of women and their role in society. No one ever thought, if you read books on World War II, no one ever thought that really women can also take part. in whatever way in World War II. So this when everyone studied about the woman's role in World War II, the perception about women actually changed. So that is why maybe that is my source of interest. That is why maybe I wanted to study about women in World War II. It also brought about changes and movements after the war. After World War II, actually, women in USA started fighting for their rights. There were many civil wars also happened, so they started fighting for their rights. So women played a very, very important role. I wanted to study about that. 5 W's I have replied to. What about how? How to study? I really don't know how to study. I needed to do more research on this part as well, because we know about what happened after the war, that women started to challenge, the social norms. And even there were no equal rights for the women. They started fighting for equal rights. So I felt to myself that maybe I need to study more. I want to study more about how this woman really took part in World War II. So when my broad topic I knew, World War II, I knew another broad topic, woman. So I replied to all my questions, 5 W's and 1 H. From there, I chose down a topic, role of American women in World War II. Did you get it? Did you get it, my friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, but how we should go about it. Or I can even do it some other way, role of women before the war and how their role changed during the war. Yes or no? Because I already know that the perception of women and their role in society changed after World War II. So this can also be a topic. Let us study about role of women before the war and how their role changed during the war. Or I can also do a research on women's role in society post-war and how this led to equal rights movement. So I had only one broad topic. You should have a broad topic. I had only one broad topic. What was that broad topic? World War II. From that World War II, I applied the theory of 5 W and 1 H. From there, I came down, I replied to some questions I never knew. So I left it as I need to do more research. And from there, I could conclude that this type of topics I can do so. Everyone, is it clear? Are you getting an idea?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, today we are living in social media. Yes, my students? Yes. Social media. Our life is incomplete without social media. Can you think of not using your Facebook for a day? Can you think of?
Yes, ma'am.
You can think of, I can't think of. Okay.
Now they have shifted to Instagram.
Yeah, now they've shifted to Instagram. That's fine. That is also social media. So I thought that let us take one example, which is very close, which we generally talk about. Okay. So I wrote down a broad topic, social media and children. We read nowadays how to use social media, what are the positive impacts of social media and what are the negative impact of social media as well. So I wanted to do a research on social media and children. So my broad topic was use of social media and children. Just see, how did I narrow down my topic? Now, this is also a topic, but when you are, your title should be very, very catchy. Your title should be so catchy that a third person is eager to read your research paper. I told you, and I believe Your research paper is very close to you, but it is not close to others. You should try out to make it interesting to others. So only if I have a topic, use of social media in children, it is something very, very common, and really you don't know what use of social media in children, what exactly to study. So what did I do? I identified the main ideas or main terms. My main idea, what are my main terms in this use of social media in children? Two main terms I could identify: social media and children. Yes or no? Yes or no? Friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I have the same theory: who, what, where, when, why. 5 W's and 1 H. Now, who? Juvenile, pre-adolescent, whom I want to study. Adolescent, teenager, whom I really try to target on. What I want to study. Social media, what? Twitter, as Kavita madam said, Instagram, Facebook. This is what I want to study. Where? Online mein, in daily life, at school, they're also using. When? Early life, childhood, maybe puberty, young adulthood. How I want to study, what exactly I want to study. Maybe what is that effect, social, emotional effects, physical effects, behavioral effects. Why I want to study, why? Because, nowadays social media, different types are there, the different causes are there are different effects are there. So I identified. From here, I will identify where I want to click to. So who I want to study about? I want to study about adolescent. What I want to study? I'm using the same interest as Kavita madam, Instagram. Where? Everywhere. So it's online, daily life, at school, everywhere. When? In every stage of life. Children ka every stage of life. How? I want to study the social impact, social impact, or I want to study the behavioral. What is the behavioral impact of using such social medias? Why? Because we are hearing there are lots of effects of social media. So my broad topic was use of social media in children. When I applied the theory of 5 W's and 1 H, I could come down to a more specific title, more specific topic: the effects of using Instagram on the behavior of adolescents. Am I clear? Am I clear to everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Anyone has to ask me anything? Anyone has to ask me anything?
Students, you can please switch on your mic when ma'am asks.
So when you're choosing your topic, you have to know the breadth of your topic. Start broad and then start narrowing it down. Very important. I started with World War II and I narrowed it down. And I narrowed it down about how women played a very important role in World War II. So you should start broad always and then narrow it down. How will you narrow it down? Always try to apply 5 W's and 1 H. It is very, very important. Second, originality. Always, it is not a research if already somebody else has already done. Research is not just bringing up facts. Yes, woman did play an important role in World War II. This X woman played, Y woman played, Z woman played. No, you're not bringing up just facts. You also have to contribute in that field. You should say that how this woman actually changed their role in the society after the World War II. Sources. Whenever you choose a topic, see to it there is a scholarly grounding to it. You should find out who else have also studied about the topic, how they have studied. I will come to it later on. So sources are very, very important. So whenever you choose a topic, there should be a breadth. Start broad, bring it narrow. There should be originality. You should be able to contribute in the field, and there should be some scholarly sources. Very, very important. I look at this. The full tunnel is a broad topic. If you see a small light at the center, that is my narrow topic. So from the broad gateway to the tunnel, try to choose that narrow light. And how will you choose it? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. You keep on asking to yourself. You will easily be able to find out a good topic. You will easily be able to find out how to move in research from a broad topic to a narrow topic. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Every one of you have understood. Now, we know the 5 rule of thumb for our research. What we have to remember when we use this, when we try to write a research paper. We also know how to make the title of the research paper, how to choose a broad theme, and then you make it a narrower one. Now we come to the research paper structure. You are all ready. You know how to write. You have a topic. Now you have to carry on the research and you have to write down the research. Very, very important. As I said, every research paper has a structure. You have to follow the structure. Unless and until you follow a structure, it will, however good your research is, it will not be called a research paper. So what is the paper? And this is applicable all over the world. So what should be the research paper structure? Number 1, it should be the paper title and the abstract. Number 2, your paper should have introduction. Number 3, your paper should have a problem statement. What is a research all about? A research means finding out a problem and then finding a solution. Unless and until your research has a problem, it is not called a research. It is only an article. So you have to find out a problem. So problem statement is very, very important. From the problem, you write down the research objectives. From the problem, I will show you how from the problem you write down the objectives. From the objectives, you can develop your hypothesis. Very important part of research is review of literature. Very important. Without review of literature, without doing a background study, really you cannot have a research paper. Then is your research methodology. How will you conduct your primary survey? How will you conduct your secondary survey? After doing the survey, you have to do the analysis. After doing the analysis, you have to draw the conclusion. I did not write recommendation and conclusion. I'll come to it when I will do the research methodology. And every research has an innovativeness on your own, a new thing on your own. Students, I will tell you how to find out that new thing, that is the spark of your research paper. Implication. Why are you doing the research? Just to add up in your biodata? No. Research is something which should be done to solve the problem. So what is the implication of your research? Very, very important. You know, when at the higher stages, my colleagues present here will know, in the higher stages, when we ask for funds from the government, What they see actually, they see the implication. It is very, very, what implication your research has. We should not forget the references, and definitely you cannot copy your research paper from somebody else. You have to do a plagiarism checking, which I will come to it at the end. So this should be the structure of your research paper. Students, on 18th February, when you'll be having the conference for the students, you will definitely be giving your research papers, and all the research papers should follow this type of a structure. Now, I will be doing them one by one. Number one is paper title. You see, for so long I was speaking on how to have a broad topic, and after the broad topic, how to come down to the narrow topic. So this paper title is very, very important. And to me, it is very challenging. Why? Because your paper title speaks volumes about your research paper. Okay, if your title is a boring one, if the title is just like some other paper, it will not be, it will not be so attractive to the others. So whenever you are writing a research paper, see to it, the title of the paper is brief, clear, and meaningful. The maximum word limit is 15 words. It should not be a paragraph, no, a paper title. It should be maximum 15 words. By reading the title, little bit, you should get an idea about the paper. So it is a mini abstract. It should paint a quick picture about the proposal or about the paper. At the same time, remember my first thumb of rule, very clear. No use of flowery language, no use of jargons. Your title should be such so that it is very easy to remember. Remember always, the title of the paper is read the most. It is just a welcome note for your research paper. So please do work very hard to make your paper title to be very, very meaningful as well as attracting. Let us do some examples. Now, in USA, the red-haired musicians are very, very famous for their typical, excuse me, one second. Hello? May be busy. So we have red-haired musicians are very, very famous in USA. So if you're trying to do a research paper on them, so you can write a title like this: Red-haired musicians and the preferences for musical style. I convert it and write it the same thing in a different manner. Music style preferences of red-haired musicians. Which one do you think is a better one?
The second one.
Which one?
The second one.
The second one, yeah, because
the second one.
Yeah, the second one, it is telling everything. Music style preferences of red-haired musician. I've just removed the middle two words and there. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, you should be very careful. Unnecessarily don't make your title very, very long. Similarly, don't make it very short also, like African politics. Now, you keep on wondering, what is the researcher doing? African politics? It's such a huge thing. Which part of African politics? Ancient African politics? Present African politics? Conflicts in African politics? Or the side effects of African politics? Whether African politics has influenced the politics of some other country, we don't know. Just vague. African politics. Now, this is not a topic at all. This is not a title at all. Your title should be short. At the same time, it should be very, very meaningful. A study to investigate the education level of dash, 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 dash. Now, just see, you're playing with words. You are investigating the education level. Does any investigation take place without studying? Does any investigation take place
No.
without? No, you have to study to do your investigation. So why write a study to investigate? These are all old fashioned of doing a research. Research has come out a long way. Don't use words which are unnecessarily been incorporated. Just make it simple to investigate the education level of. So, my dear friends, whenever you use a title, the first step, as I said, decide a broad topic, apply 5 W's and 1 H, write down several things, and then try to make it interesting, then try to make it shorter. At the same time, the meaning of the research does not go away. So you should be very, very particular when you're using the title. Majority of the researchers, spend the least time in making a title, which should be the most time using a title. Very, very important. So my style of doing a research is I use a working title. I make a title, do my research, write down the research paper. When I really write down the research paper, I understand more about the research paper, and then I come back to it and make the final title. You can try this out, my students. It will definitely help you out. Your title should be such, as I said, it's a reputation. It should capture attention, make the others curious. They should feel, yes, this is what I want. This research paper actually has interested me. I should read this research paper. Your title should be such which should condense and content. Little bit you should, by reading the title, you should understand. The others should understand and what exactly will be there in your research paper. So choosing the research title is very, very important part in writing a research paper. It should be catchier. It should be very, very catchy. But at the same time, it should not provide all information about the paper. It's just like a trailer of a movie. The trailer should attract the audience, but the trailer should not show the full movie, isn't it? Otherwise, no one will come to watch the movie. Am I correct? Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so it should be catchy. At the same time, no information will be given about the paper. I'm sure all of you present in the platform have now understood broad topic, narrow topic, and from there the title. I'm sure you have understood the 5 thumb rules and you have understood 5 W's and 1 H. Yes, I have done a working title. Now I'll start doing the paper. What is the first thing should come after the title? Writing the abstract. Abstract is a short, generally it is the size of the abstract should be 10% generally. It should be 10% of the size of your full paper. So if your full paper is 2000 words, you should make it of 200 words. Now, generally it is like that. Okay. Now, abstract is the first and last impression. You cannot make the abstract unless and until you have done the full paper. Many a times, many will say, I will send the abstract, but paper taiyar nahi hua. Paper will be later on. No, it is a wrong way to do a research. I will request my student friends not to do a research paper in that way. Do not make the abstract first. I will tell you why a proper abstract cannot be made if you have not made the full paper. Please go for the full paper, come back and do your abstract. You will come out with a fantastic research paper, I tell you. Whenever you write an abstract, it has to be in the third person, always passive tense. Should be written at the end. As I said, it should always be written at the end. What should be what should be there in your research paper? What should be there in your research paper in the abstract? 2-3 lines of introduction, your objective of the research paper, methodology of your research paper, what is your conclusion, what is the result, and what is the recommendation. So if you have seen the order, introduction, objectives, methodology, result, conclusion, recommendation. Can you really write an abstract without doing the research paper, my dear students? Can you do that? Can you do that?
No, ma'am.
You cannot do it because you will not know the objectives. You will not know what was the methodology. Unless and until you have really carried on your result of your research, you will not know the result, definitely. If you do not have the result, you cannot write a conclusion. And if you have not written the conclusion, what type of recommendations you're going to give? So, abstract should always be written at the last. Fine. Now we have the paper title, working title. Abstract. I know what is to be written in the abstract, but I have not written what is there in the abstract. My next term is the introduction. I'm starting with the real research paper now. Introduction of the paper. Introduction is just, you can see the picture, my dear students, everyone. Reading and writing. Don't use this technique. Introduction cannot be written like this. I call introduction of your research paper as a gentle beginning. Slowly, it is you are trying to introduce a topic to the researchers. Slowly, you're trying to give the background of the study. So, introduction is the gentle beginning. In the introduction part, you are trying to explain why have you chosen this particular topic to do a research. You should always write your introduction in third person, as if an outsider is looking into it. You should make the research paper, so interesting. You should make the introduction so you should make the introduction so interesting, as if you're preparing the readers for a journey of research. Again and again, I'm telling you, your research paper should be so interesting so that it can hold the interest of the third party. Then only you are a successful researcher, otherwise not. So my friends, we know how to write the introduction. Slowly, little bit background of the study we should give in your in your introduction part. The second part is a problem statement. There must be a problem. Unless and until problem is there, there is no point doing a research. There should be a problem. Simple. Research means finding out a problem, and from the problem, you are trying to find out the solution. So every research should have a problem statement.
Ma'am?
Yes?
I'm very sorry to interrupt, but can you switch to introduction slide once?
Yeah?
Yeah, ma'am, thank you.
I will be sharing the PPT with you, so don't worry on that. Can I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Problem statement I call a core of research. Why a core of research? If you do not have a problem, there is no research at all. So that is the core of research. This problem statement will tell me why are we doing the research. There must be a problem in your research paper, however small your research paper is. There must be a problem in the research paper, and you should provide a solution. You should know how to solve that. So that is a research paper. So a problem should be there. I am always very, very fascinated with the problem statement of the research. I feel this is the most excellent section of the proposal or your paper. If you do not find out the problem properly, the full research, your full hard work goes down the drain. The research should be specific. It should be a specific issue in your subject, or a specific difficulty, or a contradiction, or a gap in knowledge. Somewhere you have to learn something, but knowledge there is a gap in knowledge. No researches has taken place. So always there should be some gap, some problem, some issue, some difficulty. Then only you can take up a research. So a research should always have a difficulty. Now, let me explain you. Let us study this, how to develop a problem in your research paper. Everyone, especially in this cold winter mornings, we are affiliated to tea. And Darjeeling tea happens to be the best tea in India even today. So I used to visit Darjeeling for some reason or the other, and there many a times I had stayed in the tea plantations. There are guest houses in the tea plantations. So whenever I did that, I used to watch this woman. Mostly there are woman tea planters. I used to watch this woman tea planters picking up the leaves. Can every one of you see picking up the leaves? They're so fast.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
They're so fast. And it is 3 leaves and a bud. They're very fast because they have to meet their target. This basket has to be filled up in a day. And if they fill up this basket in a day, they can take an extra basket, which will be paid more. So they're generally their fingers, their fingers as fastest finger first. It's like that. So they're very fast. But you have realized many times, we have realized that when I was really talking to them, and I realized that the tea bushes, they're very, very old. The tea bushes were planted by the Britishers. And even today, the tea bushes are not changed. So when you have old bushes, obviously your productivity is less. Yes or no? Old bushes will not give you that much productivity. Am I correct?
Right.
Am I correct?
Yes.
The productivity is low. And when you have low productivity, definitely your investment becomes more. Yes? Whenever your investment is more, what happens? The laborers are not paid properly. The laborers' salary is very, very less. So they're not provided with proper housing facilities, electrification facilities, medical facilities, education facilities for the children. So whenever they are not satisfied, there will be labor unrest. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
There will be labor unrest. Yes. Now, when the productivity is low, we are missing out on quality. When we are missing out on quality, we will fail in world competition. Yes or no?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes. So, my friends, you see, didn't I find out so many problems? Don't you feel when you see so many problems, there is a need of research? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
There is a need.
There is a need of research? Yes. So I decided that I will be studying on the socio-economic problems of tea garden workers in Darjeeling, West Bengal. See, I saw a problem. I could see the problems. Old bushes, low productivity, investment is high, labor unrest is there, there is a world competition where we are failing. So there is a need to study about the socio-economic problems of the tea garden workers. Don't you feel it is the best part of a research paper, finding out the problem? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no? Yes.
Yes,
So when
ma'am.
you have a proper problem, the interest of the researcher is growing. Yes, then yes, there is a problem. Let us see how did the researcher friend has tried to solve out the problem. So your problem should be one which should touch the heart of the others. It is very, very important. From the problem statement, we will be developing the research objectives. I will give you the example. Research objectives, you should only remember this, what should not be included and what should be included. Research objectives should not include what is already done. Research objective means what you are going to do in your research. Generally, in the old researches, you see the researches we have taken place maybe 20 years back, 30 years back, you will find the objectives are written like this: to study, to investigate. They are all boring terms now. You have to make your research very interesting. So you will have to write it to determine, to develop, to solve. They should be very, very logical. How many research objectives should be there? Often my students, especially my research scholars, ask me a question. I always say it's never too many, nor too less. The sentence is length. Remember my fourth rule of thumb, the size of the sentences should be varying. The same is applicable here. It should neither be too big, nor it should not be too small. You should develop your objectives in such a manner so that they're achievable, they're measurable. Don't develop an objective which you can never meet. Okay. To investigate whether life is possible in Mars or not. Really, can you solve this problem? Will you go to Mars? Even if you want to go to Mars, NASA will not. Now, even if we want, NASA will not send. No. So we cannot solve this problem. So try to write an objective which is achievable, which is measurable. Just now I said, I was studying about what? Socio-economic problems of tea garden workers in Darjeeling, West Bengal. All these problems are there. For this topic, let us see, how can I develop the objective? To investigate origin and development of tea plantation in the study area. First, I should know that how tea plantation developed. To assess physical, demographic, and infrastructural characteristics of the study area. Now, this is too long. It is for a high-level research. For a research paper which you will be making for 18th of February, you can have 2 to 3 research objectives. Since you are first-time researchers, always try to write a paper and make less number of objectives. At the end of the paper, then you can prove and whatever objectives you have taken, you are able to accomplish that. Did you get me right, everyone? Yes.
Yes.
To study the land use of the study area, to analyze the socio-economic aspects of the study area, to identify the main environmental hazards of the study area. And the last part should always be there, to identify the problems and issues related to whatever you take up. Here it is tea plantation, and to recommend a development plan. I said no. Why you are doing a research? Because you have a problem, you have identified the problem, and you are trying to solve that problem. How will you solve the problem? When you have some recommendation. So any research paper without recommendation is an incomplete research paper. Any research paper without a problem is not a research paper at all. So always remember, you identify a problem, and from the problem, point-wise, write down the objectives. Is it clear to every one of you? Is it clear to every one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, I have the paper title. My paper title is final one. No, I have the working paper title. I know what is to be written in the abstract, but I have not written the abstract because I will complete my research paper and then only I will write the abstract. I have written the introduction so that it is a gentle beginning. I've given some hint to my readers that this will be the research paper about. I have identified the problem of the research, that this is the problem and I need it is not necessary that every research paper at your stage will have an hypothesis. You can even have a research question, but I will just give you an idea in a later stages when you develop a research paper, how you should develop your hypothesis. Generally, by hypothesis, we mean the assumptions which are need to be proved. We can explain what is expected to occur. We don't know whether it will occur or not, but what is expected to occur. By your study, you will prove it, whether it has occurred or not occurred. The research hypothesis, when you develop, it should be very, very clear and understandable. It should be testable, it should be measurable. Generally, whenever you're writing research hypothesis, there should be two variables used. One is independent variable and other one is dependent variable. It is the same thing. Excuse me. As I said, when you develop a topic, how to narrow down the topic, 5 W's and 1 H. Similarly, when you develop your hypothesis, it should have an independent variable and a dependent variable. Let us understand what is this independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variable causes a change in dependent variable. As simple. Let us study with an example. Time spent studying causes a change in test score. This is my hypothesis. Time spent studying causes a change in test score. We see that time spent studying must be independent variable, because we find out from our study, we've talked to the students and find out from their results and asking them questions that if time spent studying was more, the test score is also more. If time spent studying is less, the test score is also less. So, who is bringing a change? Time spent studying is bringing a change. Bringing a change to what? It is bringing a change to the test score. But test score does not depend on time spent studying. That is why time spent studying becomes an independent variable and test score becomes a dependent variable. Am I clear to every one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, independent variable is a cause and dependent variable is the effect. Let us see one more example. Do tomatoes grow faster under fluorescent or natural light? So which one is the independent variable? Type of light. Yes or no? Yes or no, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Type of light. You will find out under what type of light, fluorescent light or natural light, the growth is more. So dependent variable is the rate of growth. So do tomatoes grow faster under fluorescent light or natural light? So independent variable is type of light and dependent variable is your rate of growth. Generally, we have null hypothesis and your alternative hypothesis. We generally, when you develop hypothesis, you have to develop two opposite sentences where you accept one hypothesis and you do not accept another hypothesis. Null hypothesis 80, the number of lectures attended by first-year student has no effect on the final examination score. Just the opposite sentence will be what? The number of lectures attended by first-year students has a positive effect on the final exam scores. Yes or no? Same thing. One is no effect, one is positive effect. So can you accept both after your research?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, one is accepted, one is rejected.
Yes, one is accepted and one is rejected. Always, so whenever you're developing an hypothesis, always remember dependent variable and independent variable. Always remember null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. You accept one and you reject another. Simple way of developing an hypothesis. Make your research very, very simple. I believe in that. You know, sometimes making some people feel that more tougher your research becomes, you will be elevated to a position where you feel yourself to be a great researcher. It is not like that. Your research should be simple. Your research should should be there by the mass. It should be accepted. Your research should identify the problem. You cannot identify a problem which is not a problem at all, right? This identification of the problem, narrowing down the topic is so very important, and finding a solution. Maybe your solution may be one or two. Don't bother about that. But there should be a solution for the problem. You know, my students, the amount of satisfaction which you get in writing a research paper, that you are able to find out a solution for something where so many people were working for it. It is a tremendous satisfaction. I am sure all my PG students, after writing a paper for this 18th conference, will definitely get this type of satisfaction, which generally I get, and my colleague friends who are present here generally achieve. So my friends, we have the paper title, a working paper title. Abstract, we know what to write, but we have not written. Introduction, generally conceptual background is written whenever you use some concepts in a research. I'm not going to that. Problem statement. From the problem statement, you have the objectives. And the objectives, either you have a research question or you have hypothesis. Now you know how to develop a hypothesis. And then we come to the most important part of research, that is review of literature. What is review of literature? You should always try to find out who else have studied about the problem. If your problem was already studied, already solutions are implemented, is there any need of doing a research? There is no need of doing a research. You might deal with the same problem, but you are dealing with the problem in a different area. Take, for example, you are studying about traffic congestion. You are studying traffic congestion. There are lots of work in Chennai. There are lots of work in West Bengal, but no one has studied in Mumbai. So maybe the topic is the same, but you are studying in a new place. So always try to have a scholarly base for your research. If your research is not scholarly based, definitely this type of studies will not be possible. So literature review is very, very important. So what is literature review? Literature review is a survey of scholarly sources that provides an overview of a particular topic. Whenever you study about the literature review, you really find out what is the gap in research, what everyone has not studied in the research. You identify the gap in research. So to identify the gap in research, your literature review is very, very important. You know, you apply the same questions: who has studied, what they have studied, when they have studied, where they have studied, why they have studied. So you have a base that who has studied about your topic. I always say literature review is a roadmap for the rest of the paper. You know, it gives you the base that yes, somebody has studied about this problem, but they have studied in a different way, and I am studying in a different way. Many have studied about the problem, but they have studied in different part of the world, and I'm studying in different part of the world. So you have a base. So literature review is very, very important part of a research paper. If you see 3 pictures, everyone can see 3 pictures on my screen. Yes, I'm sure everyone can. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
yes, ma'am. A man is jumping from one clock to another. What does that mean? It is very, very time consuming. You start the literature review before the research. You end the literature review after the research. It is always like that. But if you do a good literature review, that means you have a good base for your research paper. It is really, really rewarding. So a thumbs up. And it is a continuous study. Question comes, how to do the literature review. As I said, literature review is a stepping stone. It makes you updated, that who has really studied about the topic which you have chosen. It gives you a background that how they have studied the topic which you have chosen. It is a handy guide. At the same time, it increases your credibility. You can say, see, so many people have studied about this problem in a different manner. So many people have studied about the problem in different parts of the world. But I have also taken up this topic. Why? Because this problem is a valid problem and I really want to solve it. So, but you can never do something which others have already proved. What has been done and what can you say that's new? That is the main thing. What has been done, there is no point in doing the research. It is not called a research paper at all. You should have some contribution of your own. You should bring some newness of your own. So then only it is a proper literature review. The question comes, my friends, that where to start the literature review. Generally, when we started our research, literature review is the library. First place you go, when our librarian Sonali madam is also present here. The first place you go when you really like to take up a research is the library. Research Cat says Wikipedia is not acceptable source at all. Students, please don't consult Wikipedia for your research. It generally brings the standard of your research much more down, much more lower. It is not an acceptable source at all. Generally, as I said, that it is in the library which you really can start your literature review. Go through the books and go through the journals. Try to find out from the books and from the journals and who else have studied about your topic. If you're not comfortable in finding the books and journals, you can really visit our library, and our librarian, Madam Sonali, is always there to help you. She will be trying to help you out. Give her the topic, and she will be able to help you out with the books which are available, with the journal articles which are available, and you will be able to read them. You know, writing a research paper, it actually takes time. It is not a Mills and Boon storybook. You pick up today and tomorrow you get it over. No, it is not like that. You really have to get involved in it. So this type of base work is very, very important. So go through the books, go through the journals, and try to find out that who has studied, in what way they have studied the problems which you have chosen to pick up for your research. Nowadays, you always do not go to the library, because the library comes to you. How does the library come to you? It is by Google Scholar. I think everyone, the PG students, must be using the Google Scholar. It is a subset of the Google web search, and Google Scholar has number of articles. It has got theses, books. It has got book chapters, abstracts. You know, it has got immense number of sources. So you can also go through Google Scholar, and you can ask your respective mentor or the librarian. They will be able to guide you how to carry on with the Google Scholar and do your review of literature. You know, Google Scholar is, suppose you want to, in Google Scholar, you can search for journal articles. Suppose your topic is, as I said, tea garden workers. You can just type tea garden workers, and then automatically, you know, it will show you the number of research papers which are published where the keyword is tea garden workers. So in this way, you can search the journals, you can read them, and you can understand how did the other researchers actually have dealt with the problem. Now, whenever you get so many articles, you cannot read the articles all together. So there is a provision of building up your library, your own library. So as soon as you get the articles, you can store it in the library. You can add it in your library in Google Scholar. And whenever you get time, you can just start reading the articles one after the other. Not only that, another very important facility which Google Scholar has is setting up alerts. For example, you set up an alert for women tea garden workers. So whenever there is a new paper which is added in Google Scholar, automatically it comes in your email. So you know that what are the new articles been added to the topic which you have chosen to do your research on. Even citations are very, very important. I'm sure Research Cell will be taking up topics like citation in the later part, where they will teach you how to write the references. There are different styles of writing our references. There is APA style, MLA style, there are different styles. So if you do not know the styles now, what you can do, you can just write down suppose you have consulted some books. So you can just write down the ingredients of the book, the name of the book, the year which was published, the author of the book, the publication house, and so the pages you have consulted. And then they will ask you for the style. Suppose you want to take up APA style, you want to take up MLA style, you can type that. Automatically, the citations come in. So Google Scholar is getting quick citations is also a very important point here. In advanced search, what you can do, you can choose your topic according to the time. Take, for example, I am studying about women tea garden workers, but I don't want to study about women tea garden workers in the past. I want to study about women tea garden workers since 2012. So you see, I can mark here, if you can see my screen, I can mark here 2012. And then all the articles which were published about women tea garden workers from 2012 will be coming up. So this type of alerts, you can set up once. So this narrowing the results is very, very important. So once you really look into all this, your review of literature becomes much more easier. Always remember, Google Scholar is very different from Google. Google is a public web content, but Google Scholar is a subset of Google, which gives you scholarly books, articles, and documents. So you can always use Google Scholar for your research paper. You can also have Google Books for your research papers. Google Books are also there. There are different ways by which you can find out your citations. Take, for example, you are studying about Abraham Lincoln. Okay, now try to find out some of his, you can always go to Google and search some of his friends of Abraham Lincoln. And when you get the names of his friends, try to find out about them. Now, when you try to find out about them, definitely you will come to know more about Abraham Lincoln. You see, I have many friends. My friends will be able to tell me how I am. So if you search them, they will be able to tell me how I am. So in a different way also, you can find out your sources, It is very, very important. But whenever you do a literature review, just do not stick to one source. Like, I'm looking only into the books. I'm looking only into the journals. Don't do like that. See for newspaper articles, see for private journals. That depends upon the subject which you deal with. Students who are belonging to mass media, they can look into films, TV, and video recordings. They can even look into magazines. Suppose you're doing for literature, you can look into personal interviews. So, just don't take one source only for your literature review. Maybe in the initial stages of writing a research paper, you can only look to books and journals. But in a further, when you develop yourself as a true researcher, you always have to mix up your literature review. That gives you a better idea about the problem you are dealing with. Whenever you are studying, doing the literature review, you have to take some literature reviews which are belonging to the past. You have to take some literature review which are at the present. Now, when you are students who will be doing research paper for 18th, don't literature review, you stick to 10 to 12 because it will be a short paper, but try to find out that in your problem, the problem which you are dealing with, what has been studied and what has not been studied. That is the gap in study, and that gap you are dealing with. Always when you do a literature review, make a table like this, that who is the name of the researcher, when was the date of publication, what is the title of the paper, and the publication which you are reading is catering to which objective of yours. First objective, second objective, third objectives. So stick to 10 to 12 review of literatures because it is an initial stage, but try to find out of your problem what has been studied and what has not been studied. What has not been studied should be the problem of your study. Did you understand? Because what is already been studied, if you study the same thing, it is not called a research. Research is something which is catering to something new. So try to find out the gap, and from the gap you will be able to understand what you should study and what you should not study. Whenever you are writing the literature review in your research paper, don't write it at the stretch. Always try to divide the research paper into divide the literature review into 3 parts: introduction of the introduction, body, and conclusion. You can mix up your research. Some sources can be international, some can be national, and then only you can find out the research gap. In the conclusion, as I said, introduction, body, and conclusion. In the conclusion, you should point out that so many people have studied about the problem, but no one has studied the way I am going to study. So that is the research gap. The main aim of doing literature review is to find out the research gap. What is not done in your area of problem? Whatever is not done, you are doing. And that is why it is called a research. As I said, I was trying to study about the traffic problems. I found out many studies has been carried on in Gwalior, many studies has been carried out in Asansol, many studies has been carried out in Delhi, but there were hardly any studies which were carried out in Greater Mumbai. So you see, the topic is the same, traffic problem, but the area is different. Whenever the area becomes different, the nature of the problem differs. Whenever the area becomes different, your recommendation will also differ. Asansol is a small town in West Bengal. Obviously, the recommendation which you give in Asansol about solving the traffic problem, you cannot have the same recommendation for Greater Mumbai. So you can study about the same topic, but your area is different. You can study about the same topic, but your methodology is different. So you have to show what is different, that what is the gap. Then only your research paper will be an important one. Then only your research paper will be called a research, otherwise not. Whenever you are writing the review of literature, always try to use evidences. Be selective. Whatever comes in your way, don't do that. You have to be very, very selective. Quotes, use it sparingly because you might be caught for plagiarism. So quotes always make it, try to make it very, very sparingly. Summarize it, synthesize it, make it your own. Your own comment should be there. Keep your own voice. You should be very particular while paraphrasing. Just don't copy what others have said. You will be caught up in plagiarism. And always try to add up your views. Very, very important for literature review. Now, generally, the mistakes which you do in writing a literature review is that you write together. You have no breaks. You don't break it up into a introduction, into a body, into conclusion. Please do that, because if you have one paragraph may you have written, it becomes very, very abrupt, and moreover the reader will not be reading it. Never use terms like felt. Remember, there is no place of emotion in a research. Research deals with facts, so never write felt. Sometimes, your problem is something and you are studying about a different thing. Don't do that. Try to find out who has studied about the same problem. Okay. Uncritically accept others' research findings. Somebody must have said that traffic problem is not a problem in Mumbai at all. So why to study? But you should be able to prove that traffic problem is really a problem in Mumbai, and that is why I'm studying. So uncritically, you should not accept anyone's research findings. You try to be critical. Your critical mind should work whenever you're doing a research. After you do the review of literature, the time has come for doing the review. What methods you will be carrying on? What is the coverage? What will be your data source? How will you collect the data? Secondary data, books, so many sources you have in the library, or the primary data. You can also do like questionnaire surveys there, or structured interviews there. So what type of survey you're going to carry on? After you have collected the data from survey or from secondary data, time has now come for data analysis. For data analysis, it differs from your subject. Just a moment, please. It differs from subject to subject. How will you analyze the data? Whether you're using simple Excel to analyze your data, or you're using some softwares. At your level, I think you can easily use Excel and analyze the data, whatever you have collected. After analyzing your data, you come to conclusion. You can conclude your research paper, and after you conclude the research paper, you have solved the problem, or you have tried to solve the problem. You can write about the recommendations. It is at this stage you can check the final abstract. Do you remember, my students, that we have not written the abstract? It is during this time, you can really write the final abstract. After writing the final abstract, please read your research paper. After reading the research paper, try to find out which are the words which has been used repeatedly. The words which has been used repeatedly becomes your keywords, because abstract always has 3 to 5 keywords. Use them as keywords. So my friends, we have the paper title. Now I have finalized the paper title because the paper is over. Now I have finalized the abstract because I have completed my conclusion and recommendation. In the abstract, I have also included the number of keywords which has been used repeatedly. After writing the abstract, I've started with writing the introduction. After introduction, I've written about the problem statement. After the problem statement, I have written down the research objectives, what I try to find out at the end of the paper. After writing the objective, if there is a research question, I have written it down, or the research hypothesis. After writing the hypothesis, I write down the review of literature, and I prove that what you are studying is something very, very new the others have not studied. what I am studying, maybe the topic was studied by many people, but the way I am dealing with has not been studied. Maybe the topic which I am studied has been studied in different parts of the country or in the world, but they have not been studied where I am trying to focus on. From that, develop the research methodology. Either it will be secondary or it will be primary. If it is primary, you have to develop a questionnaire. From the questionnaire, you have to do a primary survey. After doing the survey, you will have to analyze it. Either use a software which is not needed at this stage of your writing a research paper. You can use simple Excel to analyze the data. After analysis, you can write down the conclusion, and after conclusion of you really know that how to solve the problem, you can write down the recommendation. After this, you finalize your paper title, you write down your abstract, and you write down the keywords. Then you try to find out 2 lines maybe, what is new in your paper. Maybe newness, anything, it can be new topic, or in a new area, or the methodology which you are doing is something new. Okay. This is very, very important. Every research paper cannot be an invention. But there is some innovativeness which you have done. After you do a research paper, you realize that so many people have not thought in this way, but I am thinking in this way. Maybe that is my innovation. Maybe, some new concepts you have used, maybe some new uses, it. So whatever, maybe a line at this stage, a line of innovativeness gives a different view of your research paper. After writing an innovativeness, which you can add in your conclusion, you should write that how your paper is important to others. What is the implication of your paper? What is the impact of your research? Whether it will be impacting the policymakers. I know it is at the later stages when you do a research which is important to policymakers, but how it is important to the society, at what level you have studied and done your research paper, at a micro level or at the macro level. So just try to use a sentence that your research paper can be beneficial to the society. Beneficial to which part of the society? How it will be beneficial? Just if you really do it, as I'm saying, you will easily be able to find out the importance of your research paper. After writing the implication and the relevance of your research paper, write down the reference. Whatever books, whatever journals have you consulted for your review of literature, please write down the names in the proper manner. There is nothing wrong if you borrow some ideas from others, but when you borrow the ideas from others, you should acknowledge them. If you do not acknowledge them, you will be caught in plagiarism. There is nothing, you can always borrow ideas, but you have to know, you should know in the reference, you should write down their name. By citing others' work, you are showing respect to others' work. And you are showing that somebody must have influenced you in your research paper. So please do not leave out a single name whom you have consulted in your literature review. As I said, there are different styles of using literature, of writing references. Research Cell will be doing more programs in future, and where the students will be taught how to write this, how in different styles you can write down their names. But always remember, citation, doing the references, writing down the bibliography is very, very important. It is a way by which you give credit. There is nothing wrong in giving credit to others. But there is something definitely wrong when you take ideas from others' papers and others' books and you don't acknowledge it. That is definitely wrong. There is a great controversy, that what you need to cite and what you do not need to cite. Generally, general knowledge, like the sun is rising in the east, it's a general knowledge. Don't cite. Scientific truths, don't cite. History, the dates. India got independence in 1947. Everyone knows, no need to cite. But generally, we find that opinions of others, theories of others, statements of others, statistics when you take from somebody else, graphs and tables when you take from somebody else, please do. If you're not sure, cite it. There will be nothing wrong if you cite something, but definitely you will be caught in a plagiarism if you have not cited something. So if you're in two minds, you really do not know whether either you ask your mentor, your teacher who is doing research methodology with you, or you just if you're not sure, you just cite the name. It will be, you are on the safer side. As I said, you will be following this different types of styles for your research paper. At the end comes the most important point called plagiarism. Plagiarism is checked through a software. This software, Turnitin software, is available with our library. Whenever you are giving a paper, it has to be checked. Plagiarism has to be checked to find out whether you have copied from some other. We don't generally disregard our students, but copying is something which is very, very non-academic in research. It is not a crime, but it is an unethical conduct. So you have to be very, very clear when you do a research paper. So always get the plagiarism test done. When your plagiarism is up to 10%, it is acceptable. Otherwise, you have to change your paper. See what I have written. You can borrow from the works of others in your own work, but you have to give others credits. You can always take ideas from others, but please mention their names in the references. Otherwise, it is very, very unethical in nature. Sometimes you will find that, formatting ideas are not given. Whenever formatting ideas are not given, you have to stick to Times New Roman. The size should be 12 for body and 14 will be for headings. Line spacing is 1.5. Margin is 2 and 1.5. Use simple language, simple grammar. I think every one of you are remembering the 5 thumb of rules for research. It should always be concise, it should always be crisp, and it should always be original. Now, on 18th, when you write a paper, what is your broad topic? Beyond pandemics. Yes or no, my dear students? It is beyond pandemics.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you see, I was just wondering, I was talking to Varsha madam and I was wondering that what can be the topics which the students can take up for beyond pandemic. So you see, I've just jotted down some of the topics which every one of you can take up depending upon the field you're coming from. Whether you're from MCOM or you're from geoinformatics or from geography, psychology, like restoring economic growth through startups. What type of startups have happened after pandemic? From wealth to health, everyone knows now health has taken a new dimension. So how we are reconsidering health after the pandemic, or reimagining sustainable man-environment relationship after pandemic. Our relationship with the environment has changed after pandemic. So what type, how it has changed. Then the need to restructure the education system post-pandemic. Everyone knows we have come down to online. So whether this restructuring is proper or not, or there is really a need to restructure the education system post-pandemic or not. What are the solutions to minimize the widened gap between the employed and the unemployed. Many people have lost their jobs, so unemployment has increased. So how we can minimize this gap between the employed and the unemployed? Rejuvenation through responsible tourism. Our concept of tourism has changed now. So what's the new types of tourism which has come after pandemic? Students can study. It will be a very, very important point. The study of the need of specialized e-banking services to the elderly. E-banking services should be more now, because elderlies should not be stepping out of their house. Analysis of changes in the preference of fashion. Fashion has taken it has become really topsy-turvy, the fashion of the post-pandemic. Now there is more demand of comfort wear, So you can study of, I think the students of apparel design can study on this topic. Analysis of rate of online shopping pre and post pandemic. Definitely the income students have topics like this. Or change in investment patterns post pandemic. Now, our shopping has become lesser. So what are the investment? What is the investment patterns? What type of patterns we are having beyond pandemic? So this is just few things which came in my mind, which my students who are present in the platform can take up for their conferences, the upcoming conference, which is coming on 18th. So my dear, you're thinking still to write a research paper? Still thinking, or you're sure?
Ma'am, quite much sure after all the information you've given us.
So we are all ready to dive in, right? We are ready to dive in the ocean of research. It is an ocean, it's never ending. So we are all ready to dive in, and the research cell is always there to help you out. Whenever the students have any problem, please do approach the research cell. Varsha madam, Kavita madam, they're always there to help you out. And I'm definite that all of you will really come out with the real research paper. I always make it sure it is a real research paper. So I end with wishing every one of you a very good luck for the preparation of our research paper, because research paper is never mine. It is our research paper. My presentation flow was rules of thumb for research, which I'm sure everyone has understood. Choosing the right topic, 5 W's and H, narrowing down the topic, and then format of the research paper. Please follow the same format of the research paper. It is an internationally accepted format. So why to write the research paper for 18th? Because every one of us have to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. So what better place than here? We are all here. People are there to help you out. What better time than now? So this is the time when all my students are writing a research paper for 18th of February, because the research cell has given you an opportunity to unlock your potential. And remember, every expert, whoever is present in the platform, was once a beginner. So you should begin from this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Actually, this webinar, this talk we had organized on behalf of the students. On the request of the students, they wanted to have such a webinar. So that was the reason why we initiated this. Thank you. I'm sure students must have benefited. Smriti, you can take.
Yeah, that is the main concern. I'm sure the students must have been benefited.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Okay, I hope, yeah. Thank you so much, Moushumi ma'am, for providing us with all this information. And I really liked the thumb rules. I have always been confused about how to go about with research. And I remember you just having a meeting with us a few days back, and you asked us what are your plans after masters? And we were all confused what to say. So I guess
now the confusion has gone.
Yes, it has definitely gone, ma'am. And thank you so much. Also, I would like to invite all my fellow mates to come ahead and participate in the research paper and present their research papers. And I invite all masters and PG students come forward and participate. I hope everyone has filled the registration link, and if anyone has a question, they can definitely ask Moushumi ma'am, or you can type it in the chat box so I can convey it to Moushumi ma'am.
And otherwise also I'm always available in college. While writing a paper, if you have any problems, I'm always there.
Yes, ma'am. So if anyone has their doubts, they can ask by switching on the mics or just typing it in the chat box.
Feedback.
The feedback.
Ask them to fill the feedback form.
Smriti, just tell them. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. To all the fellow mates as well as teachers, the feedback form has been shared on in the chat box, and I request all of you to fill the feedback form. Plus, you can always contact all the volunteers present in the meeting now, also, as well as me, if you all are interested to present your research papers. Now, I would like to Jenny to take over and give the vote of thanks for everyone.
Thank you, Shruti. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Jenny Doria, would like to thank our MKS management and Director Madam Dr. Mrs. Ansi Jose and express my gratitude to our wonderful speaker of today's session, Professor Dr. Moushumi Datta, who briefed us about how to write the research paper and enlightened us with the knowledge. I thank our teachers, Dr. C.A. Varsha Inapure and Dr. Kavita Kalkuti, for organizing this talk, as it was very helpful for all of us. Last but not the least, a big thank you to our audience for supporting us with your presence, and I am sure today's knowledge will help you a lot in leading a better future ahead. Audience, please note it is mandatory to fill the feedback form in order to receive the e-certificates, which will be sent to you through email within few days. Thank you.
Excellent speech, Moushumi ma'am.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me a platform, Research Cell.
Wonderful.
Thank you, madam. Moushumi madam, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moushumi ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, also we had a lot of people supporting us on the live YouTube stream also. So thank you for all of it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yes. So we can leave the meeting?
Yes. I will be there for some time because people will be filling the feedback form. And you can leave. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
bye.
You. Thank you for sharing your time.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
bye.
you so much, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you. Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
We are waiting for all of you to fill the feedback form. Okay. As soon as you fill, just leave the meet so we know we have filled in. Kuch bhi hoga, you can put it in the chat box. I have kept the meet open.
Ma'am, can you please send the link again?
Feedback link?
It's there in the message.
There?
No, ma'am. Actually, I got exited and I have joined from the other device. That is why.
Yeah, I've just put it again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Welcome, dears. Welcome, all of you.
Kavita, someone had raised hand. Who was that?
I think by mistake they had raised. वो कभी-कभी होता है वैसे.
Kavita, can I leave?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Huh? I have to go to college.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Are we done? Should we? Can I leave now? Yeah. So I'm ending the meet.